So, good evening once again. You're welcome back to this episode of our video, and in this video for week 7 we are going to learn about a JavaScript React library, and that is React. Now, what are we going to learn for our first class on Saturday? So we are going to learn the following key points. What is React? What is SPA? How to install React, which is very important. Installing some VS Code extension useful in React. This will help us to speed up our typing process in React, creating components and other stuff. Then explaining React environment, very important, so that you know where to insert your code and where not to touch. Then next we are going to move to React components. So we are going to create our own custom component, which will be reusable. And next we are going to learn about React props, how to make our components dynamic when they are being reused, just like a function in JavaScript. So next we are going to learn how easy it is to add React event listeners. Then you're going to learn 2 ways of styling our component using CSS or Sass. Then during the course of the video, in the other things, we're also going to learn how to use Bootstrap to add some functionalities, but not with styling, but you can also use Bootstrap or Tailwinds too. Then we're also going to learn about React routes, and we're going to see how this is important in making our React application behave like an SPA, which is a single page application. Then we are going to learn about React hooks and why they are important for functional components. We are also going to learn about React list, how we can render items from an array or array objects. Then we are also going to learn about how to use forms in React, and with that we are going to learn how to use Yop and Formic to add more functionalities to our form, especially when it comes to validating our form before we submit it to the server. So that is what we are going to learn for our Saturday's class. Then for our Sunday's class, we are going to learn this. Some key points for our Sunday classes will apply what we have learned so far to create the following. The first one, you're going to build a blog post React website with an API call from JSON placeholder. Now this is an online API, so we need internet, of course. Then the data will get there. You can only read from it, but you cannot write, you cannot post, and you cannot delete. Although you can use those things, but it's not actually deleting it. Once you change page, the original data remains there. So because of that, you're going to also do the same project using a more flexible one called JSON server, and this is offline. We can customize the data, so we are going to use it to build a simple blog website that looks like this. So let me show you that. So we are going to use it to build a simple blog website that looks like this. So these are some of the things that we are going to learn, but the actual project is here, which is the one that we will build using our JSON placeholder. So if this is the list of blogs I got from there, and I will share to do this in a moment. Then to see the blog details, you can see the title of the blog, you can see the explanation. Then if I want to delete this blog now, you see this modal comes from Bootstrap, and we are going to add it. Now if I don't want to delete this blog, I'll just click no. So this is just a simple design, but if I click yes, it attempts to delete it, and you see the toast notification So you're going to see how to add all this, and the page does not actually delete. You see the content still remains. So that is why you're going to use this JSON server, which is offline. So I have a simple blog here. Now this blog has the following functionalities. It's just a simple blog where you can create and update blogs, but the person who has the right to update and create that blog is an admin. So any person that signs in can just read the blog and view the blog. But you see, I'm signed in as with a user that is not the admin, so I cannot delete blog. So if I sign out, so you notice I sign out. So if I want to go back to that page, I have to sign in with the one I use as an admin. So this is the project that we are going to do. So I want you to pay more than the usual attention so that you understand the flow of this project. So now I've signed in with a user that is an admin. I notice that the create blog has shown. So let me show you again. If I sign in with a user that is not an admin, you notice the create blog does not show. It just only shows you the sign out, and because of that I cannot update or delete the blog. So if I sign out and go back to that blog JSON server and sign in with email number 3, I see the create blog comes. So now I can create a blog. I can just type rubbish, just type any single thing. Then this is the user's full name that is logged in with this admin. So I mean, okay, the full name of the user that is logged in, so which is, I just put it Amadi Blue, so I can change it if I want. Then the content is saved there. So if I click on this button, you see it saves and it adds at the bottom of the page. But with some simple JavaScript, we can make this to show at the top. So but that is not the purpose of this project. It's just a simple one. Now if I click on this, now you notice I can go back. Notice I can update, so I can put here version 2, and if I click on update, what has happened? Okay, I have not selected an author, so I need to select an author. So if I click on update, you notice it updates, and that is the version 2. I see the author has changed. So if I want to delete this, I press on that delete icon, then I press this delete. So you notice it will start deleting, and because this is like a backend, you see that it's not there. So this offline JSON server gives us a control that we can use to practice as front-end developers. So that is it for this. So we can create sign in and sign up. So that is just the functionality of this project, and that is what we are going to learn in the last week, or that is on Sunday. So let's go back to our first slide, which is this. So we are going to learn what is React now. So what is React? React is a JavaScript library for building user interfaces. Now React is used to build single page applications, or SPA. Now user interface is usually called UIs. So, and those UI can be reusable. So that's why React allows us to create reusable UI components. So what is React? How is React different from the conventional website that we have been building using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So we are going to see that in the next slide. So what is SPA? So an SPA is a single page application. So that is what SPA stands for. It's a web app implementation that loads only a single web document and then updates the body content of that single document via JavaScript APIs such as fetch when different content is to be shown. Now let me demonstrate that with this our project that we'll do at the end of the video. So if I log in here, now you notice this is coming from what looks like a backend. So while I'm visiting this page, it's changing the page dynamically under the hood. So if I want to click on this page now, you see it loads this page dynamically, and this is the offline version. So even if I do the same thing for the online version, so if I go back to my home, which is this one, it's still the same thing. So if I click on this, it loads the content of this page under the hood by fetching the data, but you notice the web browser here does not refresh. So I want to do that again. So if I go to this one, so you notice it does not refresh. So React dynamically ingests the new content of the page without having to refresh the page. So that is, it uses a single document, as you will see when I'm explaining the React environment. So this therefore allows users to use websites without loading whole new pages from the server, which can result in performance gain and a more dynamic experience, just as I've showed you. Now a setback in SPA website is SEO, which is search engine optimization. Now this search engine optimization is like, for instance, if you have a website or a blog website that talks about React, and the blog content of that website is the most valuable that a user would love to read. Now when a user clicks on maybe an explanation on something in React, if you of course use your React, and your React app will be very, very fast, but because of that dynamically injecting the new page content, as at the time the web crawlers or the application that search engines like Google uses to search for content on the web page gets to your React, it will see a blank page, and you know it does that in split seconds. So as it gets there, it sees that React is still trying to load the page, and it will assume there's no content, so it will leave it. So it then means your own content that is most valuable will not be like the 10th or even the 100th that the user will see. So that is what the search engine optimization is. It will make your valuable content that you use React to build will not be the first that the user or the second that the user will have to see. So but this issue is solved with a React framework called Next.js. So if search engine optimization is one of the key ingredients, or the key or is important to you, is important for the website that you are building, then you have to consider using this Next.js or any other framework that solves that problem. So difference between a library and a framework. Now developers often use the term library and framework interchangeably, but there is a difference. The technical difference between a framework and a library lies in a term called inversion of control. And when you use a library, you are in charge of the flow of the application. You are choosing when and where to call the library. When you use a framework, the framework is in charge of the flow. It provides some places for you to plug in your code, but it calls the code you plug in as needed. So that is the difference. So a library gives you more control, while a framework is kind of rigid, but it makes your development process much faster. So if you want to have that control, you use a library. If you want to get the benefit of speedy development, you use a framework. Now, using a library like React will also give you speed than using vanilla HTML, CSS, or JavaScript. So React is a library, and Next.js is a framework. And there are other React library out there, like you have Vue.js, you have AngularJS, but React is one of the most popular. So that is what SPA does. It loads the content of your page without having to refresh. So you notice here, I'm viewing different pages, but you see this guy here does not refresh. So that is one of the advantage of React. Your users that visit your website will enjoy a fast website even with a slow network. So in the next video, we are going to learn how to install React.